Welcome to the City League Sports Show here, the place where we share love for all the wonderful things in Columbus City League. Now, hey, we got a fun show for you today, people. Today in the studio, we got the head coach of Independence High School boys track team, Coach Maurice Douglas. Along with him, we got two phenomenal athletes. These young dudes is bad to the bone. Antonio Weaver, Anthony Townsend is in the house with us. I'm your host, Dr. Vince Clarino. We about to get into some fun. Right before, Coach, I'm not going to let you say hello first. We turning straight to the young guys. We got A and A in here, right? Antonio and Anthony. Antonio, you go first, man. Say hello to everybody. Say what's up.
Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Thank you, Dr. Clarino. I'm Antonio Weaver. I'm a junior at Independence High School, a member of the 4x1 city champ, as well as...
Don't run your resume yet. Hold on. We got plenty of time for you to give you... Look, hey, he ready. He's like, hey, let me tell you all the bad stuff I've done. Don't run your resume yet. You're going to get plenty of chances for that. We're going to turn to you, young man. Say hello. Say your name. Say what's up.
Yes, sir. My name is Anthony Townsend. I played football my freshman year. I also run track, and I also was on the 4x1.
Also on the 4x1. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Big time over here. What's going on, man?
Yes, I'm Maurice Douglas. I'm the head track and field coach at Independence High School, also a head football coach.
Yeah, come on. And you left out one more thing. You also are an alumni.
I am an alumni of Independence High School.
Independence High School,
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed. And we're going to get to that because I really don't know, Coach, and we won't begin this way because we're talking track today, but I really don't know if everyone knows how bad of a dude you are, man. Like, I don't know if they really know that, so we're going to get into that here. But here's how I want to begin. We're talking track and field. It's spring season. Birds are chirping. Bees are flying around, right? We're doing all this wonderful spring-type stuff, and track is a part of spring, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm going to put these guys on the spot from the very beginning. We jumping out the gate. What do they say when the gun fires in track? We jump out get out the blocks?
Yeah, you got to get out the blocks fast.
Get out the blocks fast. We're getting out the blocks fast right now on this one. Last year, Independence boys track team won City League championship.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And it's a lot of bad dudes walking around there. What is that? Either one of you all are juniors. Last year you were sophomores. I like to call, and I don't mean this in any bad term, I like to call ninth graders and 10th graders just babies. You don't even know what you're doing, just having fun, right? Mm-hmm. But now the weight of the world is on y'all's shoulder. Tell me what that meant last year to be a part of a city championship. And then also, what does that mean for you all as juniors now being a part of the leadership of the team? Either one of you can go first.
Okay, so last year...
This is Antonio Weaver, because we're gonna get the voices going here.
Last year, I wouldn't say I was really like a baby because I still had like a lot of leadership roles. So when, like last year when cities came around and AJ was running his 100-meter dash, he came in second place, I had to step up and long jump. Turns out I came in first place, and yeah, so I felt like. Did
you know that? Did you already was the 100-meter and then your long jump later on? So was there some pressure on you about, hey, let me go out here and perform? Did you know that per se?
Well, yes, sir. Well, it was like a prelims first time.
Okay.
And I did finals that day. So, yeah, I was really I was nervous.
Okay.
But I had to step up and show out.
Okay. What about you? Come on, Townsend, jump in here.
Yes, I feel like last year, our team, we worked very hard, especially during practice and stuff. So I feel like we deserved that championship because we put the hard work in during the whole season.
Did coach tell you to say that? We worked very, very hard, man. I believe you believe it on your own. That's your own words. Because them sound like some coaching words. What did work very hard mean to you when you say that, that y'all were putting in the work? What does that mean to you?
Like every day at practice, we would come in and, you know what I'm saying, do what we have to do. Sprints, long distance work, hard work, everything like that surrounding that factor. I feel like we all worked hard and put our mind to that.
Are y'all working as hard this year?
Yes, sir, of course.
Okay, right, because now you're out in front. Like I said, you all are part of the leaders. You're out in front of that energy, right?
Sir.
Okay. Coach, are they working hard in practice? Tell me what is an eye-high practice going on? Like, what does that look like for you all?
Yeah, they're probably working harder to some degree because they realize that, they have to follow up what they did a year ago. Sure. And I kind of want to jump back to what Antonio said. Going into the long jump, like we have meetings in terms of how many points our kids are expected to score in each event, because there's a lot of events in the track meet.
Yes,
and
indeed.
so each one of our kids understand the weight that they have to bear in that track meet. So when the meet started off and AJ lost the 100 meter, and he came into the favorite, and the young man from Mary Franklin ran a great race.
Yeah.
Antonio immediately knew that we were 2 points down from what we expected. So for him to win the long jump and get those 10 points, that was excellent, and it kind of got us back on the path.
As you're having that discussion, and I think every sport is different, obviously, so when you're coaching and you're at the helm, you're talking about points. And for those of us that are novice listeners, because we got all range of guests that listen, of individuals that listen to our show. So in track and field, and we won't go deep into it, but you get points for each event. Absolutely. Obviously, if you come in first, you get more points, and it runs down maybe 7 or 8 places or whatever it may be, right? And there's points for all of them. Collectively, to win any track championship, state meet, anything to that nature, you either got to have a lot of people scoring a lot of points, or you got to have maybe, you know what I mean,
some outstanding people in some
4 or 5,
events,
right? Yes, in some events. So as you're having that and you're approaching your coaching, is it strategic where you're placing people?
Oh, absolutely. Ideally, you have a bunch of people that can score points in any event. But when you have excellent athletes, we tend to have really good sprinters. And so we've done well in the 4x1, the 4x2, the 1, the 2, those sprints, the open 4. But you probably don't win a city championship unless your throwers are really good, unless your jumpers are really good, and unless your distance guys, carry their weight. So all those things go into it.
I say this, now I'm going to bring it back to these 2 young guys for a moment. I'm curious to see if they're aware of this, right? And so I'll start with last year. So last year in the state, Division I and Division II, Columbus City Schools had 2 of the fastest guys in the entire state of Ohio. AJ was one of them. You all got to see AJ every single day, right?
And DJ.
And AJ is doing wonderful things up in school. Just accomplished indoor state track championships this year and things of that nature in the MAC. And then obviously DJ, right? So 2 of the fastest guys. Now you guys are part of the fastest guys, right? When you look across the landscape of the City League, do you know who else is out there? Is it an awareness for you who's out there?
Yes, sir. I can name a couple too.
Well, and I'm glad you said that, because so in pre-show, everyone, all my radio listeners, everybody, I said I'm gonna put these guys on the spot a little bit. And I liked how Antonio jumped out and said, I didn't feel like I was a baby. I love that when you say that, right? I felt like I'm in the mix of it, right? Last year, so let me get into this. You were a sprinter and a long jumper.
Yes, sir.
You won the cities last year in long jump as a 10th grader.
Yes, sir.
And you nudged out another 10th grader by maybe half a foot or something like that in Jeremiah Johnson over at Eastmoor.
Yes, sir.
Let's stay in that space. Now you guys are both juniors. You're coming into it. What does it mean to you to possibly defend your own championship? Because we don't have a lot of 3-time champions at any of our sports, right? So when it happens, it's rare. Coach has seen it happen a few times, right? Absolutely. We've had some 3-time champions. So now that pressure, when you hear about it, training, working towards it, and you know that there's a guy who was in second, who's right there looking also probably to win a championship. What does that mean to you in preparation, and how do you approach this season?
It just makes me more ambitious in everything I do. When I first get to practice, I just look at what I'm doing, and I just vision that person last year, he trying to work as hard as me. Yeah. So I just got to push harder.
I love it. We're staying on this theme because, Anthony, last year for you, different sort of world as a 10th grader, because you're every day suiting up alongside one of the baddest guys in the state. Right? And so even from a coaching standpoint, strategically, all those things, we're talking about points. You're getting a chance to compete against one of the toughest guys, but also now you come into it. You just were outside of the 100 last year in cities, right? I think you might have missed it by maybe 200ths of a second. Absolutely. Right? I remembered you missed it 200ths of a second. Now you come into it and you're one of 3 favorites. With you, DJ, I want to say Tyrell is out there, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
And so how do you prepare coming into this season? Now, hey, Oh, hold on a second. I got to do that for my radio listeners. Radio listeners, you can't see this. These two guys are contagious. But when I said, how do you prepare? Did you see the smile come across? Hey, his smile broke out. This dude is ready right now. Maybe we go over today for those of you when the show is. This raining today. Maybe we just go run out in the rain. This dude is so bad. But tell me, how do you come into that from a preparation and mentally standpoint?
I feel like definitely my junior year, I have to work way harder. Just the main fact that I'm running against one of the top dogs that was running with my top dog last year.
Yeah.
So I feel like this year I got to work even harder to be one of the main top dogs.
Yeah.
For a fact. And every day I've been putting my mind to that, for a fact.
Have you, when you look at it, what are the goals you've set for yourself for this year? I mean, and it's okay to put them out there, right? Because I'm a believer that if you can't envision it, you can't say it. It's hard to accomplish it. That's my opinion, right? Mm-hmm. So, what are some of the goals you've set for yourself? Being a sprinter who is out there moving and getting it done. What are some of the goals you've set for yourself?
I would say last year, my freshman and sophomore year, I lacked intensity, but my junior year, I've been really working on my intensity and like my seriousness towards my work.
Okay.
And I feel like I've been improving based off that.
I love. Hey, it's nice to be able to see that, Coach. Yeah. I'm gonna put you on the spot now. These guys, Weaver says I wasn't a baby. We got Townsend over here saying, "Hey, look, last year I had to work on intensity." Do you see the difference in them as juniors now? Are they out there being a part of and an extension of your vision?
Yeah, absolutely. We always tell them that, and it's an old saying, if a dog will bite, he'll bite as a pup, and that's been Antonio since we met him.
Okay.
Anthony, when he talks about intensity, one of the things we talk about is urgency in our program because, right before the gun goes off, everybody's urgent. It's time to win at that point. Right. But if you haven't done the things that it takes to win in that situation, if you haven't prepared well, you're probably not going to be successful. Okay. So what Anthony has understood this year, and he's growing, is that you have to have the intensity that he talked about. You have to have the urgency on a daily basis, or else good things don't happen.
That's right. And I think even some of the results are showing that as well, right? In your space, you all have, I think, a really cool opportunity. And the reason why I started off with AJ and DJ over at Marion Franklin as a narrative is that there's a lot of places around the state of Ohio where guys don't have that fierce competition in their backyard. You ain't got to make it to sectionals and districts and all this other stuff to find somebody who's looking to claim your glory, right? Because our City League championship is as good as it gets.
Absolutely.
We could take a whole group of guys and just go drop them off at Jesse Owens Stadium and say, here, we can compete with anybody in the state of Ohio. So you have that, and you talk about knowing what they're doing behind you. How do you all help then take that leadership and carry it over to the rest of the team? Either one of you. I'm just curious.
Well, basically, they know what we know. So when we put that narrative out, like Beechcroft is coming after us, they got a lot of people, or Ridge, they've been winning a lot of meets. We know, we got to hold each other accountable. Like if somebody that's important is not coming to practice, somebody that's not important coming to practice, we still know that they got to hold themselves accountable, and we hold them accountable as well.
So let me ask you that. How do students? Because when I was in school, and you hit it on the nose, like missing a practice or something to that nature, we probably did some knucklehead stuff as kids. That stuff that wasn't cool, right? To just be very honest. But in the same breath, we didn't allow teammates to miss practice. We were vocal. So when somebody, I'll turn to you, Townsend. Like when somebody's missing practice, how do you help get them back into the fold? Whether he said important, not important, and I'll share with you, everybody's important, right? So I'll tickle you on that piece. But how do you help encourage a teammate who's maybe having some challenges?
Yes, sir. I would tell the teammate, because practice is one of the main factor of running races. That's like the main important thing, I feel like. Yeah. So I feel like even like one day missing practice, that can really set you back far enough.
Okay.
Mess you up.
Certainly.
So I tell them you really can't miss even a day, even beginning of practice, you gotta come to practice on time. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So you guys are leaders now, and you're part of the main group. Coach, when you're sitting here, are these guys that you rely upon, or to help get it going every day?
Oh yeah, absolutely. my job as a teacher, sometimes I'm not out of the classroom when they're congregating in the practice space.
Okay.
And so Antonio knows that his job is to get everything lined up and get everybody going. And by the time I get out of my classroom, they're doing the things that we want them to do, and that's every day. And so he takes a lot off my plate because I have such a strong leader that I can rely on to get things going until I'm able to get out of the classroom and onto the track.
Certainly. You guys made mention a moment ago about 4x1. What was your place in state last year?
Third place.
Third place.
Third place.
Were both of you members of the
Yes,
4x1 team?
sir.
Okay. So now, how many members of the 4x1 from last year are still on the team? You two? Is it?
It's just us two.
Just you two. Okay. So now it's 2 new seats, two new guys into the fold. When they listen to the show, what advice do you have to your 4x1 teammates in preparation for ultimately getting back to states?
We got to execute. That's it.
Okay. What does that mean in track? Hey, so listen, describe it to a 5-year-old who doesn't know anything about track, or a 85-year-old whose grandmother is listening right now and doesn't know anything about track. What does execute mean in 4x1? And 4x1 is a relay. Mm-hmm. So for those that may not know, that is the baton moving around. It's a fast event. That's that baton sprinting around that track one time, right? What does execute mean to you?
For like an 85-year-old, so if you practice chess every day, and you're practicing it, you're learning every opening, all of that, but you go out and play.
Are you giving a chess analogy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, look, I said earlier, don't lean in on your microphone when we were in here prepping, but I'm going to unbutton my jacket for this one. This young man is going into a chess analogy. I'm sorry, start over 85, a chess analogy, please. I paused for a moment because my brain was catching up to where you were talking. So radio listeners, turn your radio up. We have a chess analogy that's about to come back to track somehow. So the stage is yours.
Okay, so if you're an 85-year-old and you're playing chess, you're practicing it by yourself. You're playing against bots. Like, you're learning all the openings and stuff. You can go against another 85-year-old and fold under pressure because you're not executing. So for a 5-year-old, if you're coloring and stuff, y'all have a competition, and then you just melt under pressure. So I feel like when you go out to compete, you just have to have your mind on, like, you have to have your mind on doing everything right.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man,
And he's pretty good at chess, too. He's pretty good.
He got to be pretty good at chess, too. To give a chess analogy, I honestly think that might be the first chess analogy we've had on the sports show in here, right? Yeah. And we're 60-some-odd episodes in.
A young man of many talents.
That's cool. So Townsend, I'm going to turn to you because you're a 1 and 2 guy, right? You just a speedster. That's your thing.
Sir.
What do you say to the guys that are joining you all on this 4x1 team, and just in general, what's your advice to those guys?
So I feel like since last year, since we made it state, came third in state, I feel like our bar is already set high. So I feel like we gotta, like Antonio said, we gotta execute on the handoffs, on like taking off at the right time, you know what I'm saying, accelerating and stuff like that, and having like a healthy season, you know what I'm saying, and yeah, basically like that.
So right now, and during the regular season, you guys are going to different meets. Is your 4x1 team competing together as a group?
Yes, sir.
Are you all on pace where you want to be?
Well, yes, sir.
Are you?
Yes, sir.
Coach, are they on pace where you want them to be? Yeah, come on. There's 2 responses to that, right? That's why I asked the question the way I did. Are you all on pace where you want to be? Now I'm curious to hear, Coach, are they on pace where you want them to be?
I had to clear my throat on that.
Yeah, yes, indeed. That's why I asked the question that way.
Well, at this point in the season, I will say,
and it's early.
Yeah, none of our 4x1 units have ever been on the pace as far as I want them to be.
Certainly,
and that's part of the growing process. You know, there's a lot of things that go into the mechanics of getting the stick around. You know, if your viewers look at the Olympic 4x1, sometimes they don't get the stick around, and that's at the highest level.
I've seen it drop, I think, at a world championship within the last year or two. I remember me and my wife was watching it, and what was it, the guys or the girls? Like within the last year or so in the world championships. Well, I'm talking about recently. I don't remember, but you're certainly correct. I think recently there was a baton drop, and I remember us thinking to ourselves, and I said, anybody can drop the baton per se.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing to do, and so especially in the pressure of the moment, to be able to get the stick around the track, that's a task that has to be done. So, the first 4x1, we ran a really good time, and we won it, and then the second one, we didn't run a really good time, and we lost it. Okay. So, those are things we have to put together by the time the city championships come around.
Certainly. Coach, I'm gonna keep you on the spot for a second. I don't know if these two young guys know how bad of a dude you really are, right? But you've also seen a lot of bad dudes. Mm-hmm. So we're gonna focus on Coach for a minute, guys, okay? We're gonna focus on Coach's love here. Coach, you're an 80-something graduate.
88.
88. I didn't want to say it wrong.
Well, it's towards the end, so 88 still makes you pretty young.
Yes, indeed. 88. Yes. Okay, we got you. Say, let's make sure we get to 88. So almost 90. Almost a 90 grad. Right?
Absolutely.
We'll round the number up. You leave Independence High School as a young man. 17, 18 years old. Mm-hmm. You go off to Kansas to play football.
Yes, sir. Off to the University of Kansas.
Just give us a quick snapshot of how that occurs for you.
So, first of all, Rock Chalk Jayhawk. I got to give that shout out. Okay. But Glenn Mason, and actually, and this is something that we share with our kids. You never know who's watching.
100%.
I was being recruited by.
They didn't know I was watching last weekend at your track meet. They didn't know I was watching.
Absolutely. So. Glenn Mason, who was coaching at Kent State at the time, and I had a lot of offers from pretty much every MAC school, Northwestern, Army, things like that.
Okay.
Glenn Mason gets the job at Kansas.
Okay.
And so he felt like at the time that I was a good enough player to be able to play in the Big 8.
Tailback at the time.
Running back, absolutely.
Running back.
Well, tailback, running back, all that good stuff.
But back then we called them tailbacks, I think, right?
Yeah,
Anymore you can kind of a tailback,
and
maybe.
Okay, I'm sorry, but running back, tailback. I can still get in the stands if I needed to. But, that's how getting all the way out to Kansas happens. Is you have relationships, and because people are impressed with you, they continue to recruit you. And so, I always grew up a Nebraska, Oklahoma fan because they ran the football. Okay. And they ran it really well.
Certainly.
And so, just being a competitor is a chance to compete against those kind of programs. And Kansas wasn't really good at the time, but Glenn Mason was a really good coach. And by the time we were seniors, we were in the hunt for the Big 8 championship.
Yeah. You a Columbus guy?
I am a Columbus guy. I always say that I am these kids. I grew 100%. Up in the same neighborhoods that they grew up.
Both,
yeah, absolutely. East Haven, around those parts is where I grew up.
Yeah.
Eastern Lanes, did a little bowling. So, being in the same places that they are, graduate from Independence High School.
You know the areas where they're walking every day.
Absolutely. So that makes it more rewarding when you come back and kind of give back.
Certainly. I want to stay in Kansas for a moment. So then on top of that, you're there, you're a running back, 80s to the early 90s. Mm-hmm. And then shortly thereafter, another Columbus guy ends up in Kansas, and June Henley.
Yeah, June Henley.
Right, so June comes out of Brookhaven, and June goes on to Kansas.
Absolutely, went to Kansas. In fact, the year I was leaving.
Do you know June?
Yeah, I know June.
Okay.
The year, well, not personally, I know of June.
Saying, you know of June? Yeah. Central Ohio guys, Kansas
Central
guys,
Ohio
right?
Yeah, we all stick together.
Yeah.
And as he was coming in, I was leaving, and was fortunate to get a tryout with the New York Giants.
Certainly.
And then kind of had to readjust when I came back home because a lot of young men's dream is to go on to the NBA, NFL, do those things. And so when that short circuited, you got to kind of go to plan B and figure out what's next.
Right. No, I wanted listeners and I wanted these guys to be able to hear, like, hey, look, Coach D is a bad dude, because sometimes it's hard for us to, and it can come off wrong if we're sharing it ourselves. Right. But I wanted them to have a chance to hear it. I wanted our listeners to have a chance to hear it. You were a two-sport guy. Mm-hmm. Do these young men do other sports? Do y'all do other things? Football?
Yes, sir.
But both of you are football guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So as you being a student athlete, kind of what's your recipe for success? How are you balancing it all? You're a junior now. You're figuring some things out, right? You got. Tell me how you balance everything, Anthony.
Number one.
Do you go by Anthony, Tony? Which one? What do you prefer?
Anthony.
Okay, yes. I'm sorry. I should have asked that early. So how do you balance everything? Because track and football are both very long seasons, and they kind of overlap, right? Because if you're not preparing or participating in track, you're probably preparing and getting ready for a football season, right? So share with how you balancing everything out.
Yes, sir. My freshman year, I played football but I didn't play my sophomore year.
Okay.
So I decided I can excel more in track than football. So
Is track your thing, though?
Yes,
and that's okay for you. Yeah, track's your thing.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. I'm listening.
So I decided track is my main priority than football.
Certainly.
So I didn't play my sophomore year.
Okay.
And we're still leaning on him. You know, we might still get him out there on the field at some point.
I certainly get that.
Yeah.
And let me share with you, man, because we have young people that come in, and we got multi-sport individuals. We got individuals who are focused on one thing. Make sure that you're comfortable with whatever decisions you're making, right?
Sure.
And I know Coach is saying leaning on you jokingly, right? Mm-hmm. But by all means, keep yourself connected and involved, though. So even if you say you're not playing football, be connected and involved, right? So at the school, you got a strength and conditioning coach. You got these things going on. Make sure you're staying connected and involved. We'll go to you, Antonio. How do you balance all this stuff out?
Like schoolwork or?
Yeah, everything, just life in general, because when you're a student athlete, your days are pretty long. First off, track is pretty long. Mm-hmm. You got some nights where after a track meet, you can probably walk through the door at 9:30 at night. Right,
you're being conservative.
I'm trying to be nice to our listeners out there, right? But you certainly could start. You can start immediately after school. Mm-hmm. So you're talking about from 2:30, and then you got several hours before you make it back home. So how do you balance this, just being a person in life, right, where you're just trying to keep up with friends and social world and all these other things? How do you balance all of this out?
Like procrastination, and then holding your priorities, like keeping your priorities straight. So basically with schoolwork, I make sure that I'm not like procrastinating with it. I feel like that helped a lot with me, like having over a 4.0 GPA and stuff. So I just don't procrastinate with the schoolwork. And then for having friends and stuff, I hold my priorities above that. So if I got like a football training or a track training, I just make sure like I got all of that above before I go out with like friends or anything.
Okay. Being able to prioritize at this level, young age, for you guys, pat yourself on the back. Trust me. And that's one of the gifts that sports brings to us, to be very honest with you. You will see as you get older and you start to go out for jobs and all these other things, your time as an athlete and involvement in sports will separate you from everybody else, because a lot of people don't have that skill set. It's a lot of people who struggle with setting priorities and saying to themselves, let me take care of the important stuff first, and then kind of I'll get to the other things. It'll be there, right? Mm-hmm. Coach, as you, now I'm going to put you back on the spot. I told you I was going to give you two things here. So the second one's circling back around. Okay. And for our listeners that's keeping tabulation, this is the second one for Coach. You've been involved with Independence athletics as an adult, not going back to the 80s and 90s or early 90s, but share, when do you start to become on the staffing side of things?
Yeah, so I actually, as I mentioned, coming back and kind of have to switch gears. My old high school coach, Marvin Bohannon, long time.
Hey, man, Coach Bo is a bad dude.
Absolutely.
I'm glad you shared his name. I don't know if we've got a Marv Bohannon shout-out on the show before, but Marv knows I respect him highly, man, and certainly appreciate you bringing his name up on the show.
That is a great man and certainly instrumental in my life, and a father figure, most definitely.
Certainly.
And so,
do you still keep, you can call him today?
I can call him today.
Good stuff. Okay.
Coach Bohannon, he'll probably be on the golf course somewhere, but he'll pick up from the golf course.
That's part of the gift we get, right? When you put in your time, you know what I mean.
Time, and he has that, to look forward to. But he's the one that brought me back in, and actually I started over at Eastmore with him, and he's kind of like Maurice, come on out here and help me coach.
Certainly.
And so, at the time I didn't know what the next step was, because
figuring things out.
Yeah, I'm figuring things out, and honestly, that's one of the things I like to do is kind of help our young people make a plan for their future, because when I look back, I didn't necessarily have a solid one.
Certainly.
I was going to play in the NFL, and then everything after that was gravy.
Right.
But
we're
going to go about our business.
Yeah.
But if that doesn't happen, and it can happen, but it's a difficult thing to happen.
Okay.
And so to come back and get back with Coach Bohannon at Eastmore around '96.
Okay.
And then we coached there for a couple of years, and then it became the academy. Mm-hmm. And that's when he came back to Independence in 2000. So in 2000 is where I started my coaching career at Independence, and everything else has been history.
I'm putting him on the spot. So 20 years of Independence.
Absolutely.
On the coaching side. you've seen a lot of bad dudes.
Absolutely.
Because Central Ohio has seen a lot of bad dudes come out of Independence, right?
Okay.
I've seen them. I've watched them. And I've been a part of the school system for 20 years as well, right? 20 plus years. So I've looked up and I'm like, who is this dude? Who is this guy? Where'd this guy come from?
Sir.
Right? Like just one after another. These two are the next guys, right? And it's funny because I don't know that anyone would say that you got an AJ and then also you got an Antonio and an Anthony sitting right there like on the doorstep.
Right.
That's like a gift. You look up, you go, oh wow,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But you've seen a lot of bad guys. I'm not asking you to call out any names.
Okay.
Unless you want to.
Okay.
2 questions. Where do these guys rank with all the bad guys that have come out of Independence, and then not including these guys, right? Because I'm not gonna get them uncomfortable.
I got you.
Who's your bad guys? Give me your 3 guys, right? So where do these guys rank as juniors with the rest of them bad guys? And then name 3 of them bad guys, man, that came through there in track and field.
Yeah, I'm gonna say some cold ones.
No, don't say them first. I want to know where these guys rank. Where are they at right now in the gauge of your mind as with the bad guy? They smiling, radio listeners. These dudes want to hear what coach is gonna say. I told him I'm putting him on the spot, right?
Okay.
I'm hooking up because here's the thing. Not only is he on the spot, but I want you all to truly soak in his words. He's seen a lot of talented dudes come through there. And what he shares with you right now you know, okay, hey, look, maybe I am pretty bad dude. Because y'all are bad dudes.
Sir.
But he's going to let you know if you're really bad dudes. And if you're not really bad dudes, you got some work to do. And that's okay to have work to do, right? Because getting into the lab is important.
Yeah,
so I'm putting him
absolutely.
on the spot. Where do these guys rank with the bad dudes?
So I'm gonna do from when I became the head coach, track coach in 2010, because we've had
14 years.
14 years. We had some really great sprinters in those 14
know.
years.
That's why I started this way.
So, yeah.
I know,
Okay.
100%.
So we're gonna call them Steph Curry. About right now, they're starting to enter the top 10. I don't know if they're in the top 10 yet.
Okay.
But they're just juniors.
Okay, they're knocking on the door.
They're knocking on the door because we can go back all the way to Anthony Smith Sykes back in 2010. Dominic Ward, who was a cold dude. I will say Vincent Rambo, another city league champion.
Rambo.
Yeah, Vincent Rambo.
Yeah.
So Dominic Ward won the city in the 100 meters as a junior. Vincent Rambo turns around and beats him next year. So Antonio Weaver runs it kind of similar to Vincent Rambo. He has a really good start, and and then we're trying to get him to maintain that speed all the way through the finish.
Yeah.
And Anthony Townsend runs it exactly like Dominic Ward, where he might get a little bit of a slow start, then he'll come back on you. So those
Because his
are two.
explosion is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? And I
Absolutely.
just share that from seeing you. I've seen sometimes, and I said, oh, he's out. And, oh, no, he's not out of it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
absolutely.
Because I thought you were out of it, and
Yeah.
then I've seen that second, I don't know what proper term to use, but I've seen that second explosion from you. So I'm sorry, go ahead,
Yeah,
Coach.
he has good top end speed. But then you got a kid like Ronnie Kuipers, who was another city league champion.
Certainly.
That we would have to put him behind. And then obviously AJ from a year ago, they haven't got to that level yet. So we talk about those kids all the time, and they know the history that they're chasing.
Certainly.
And, we don't hide it,
Right.
because we want them to aspire to that.
Certainly.
So, they're getting there, but they're not there yet.
And so I wanted them to hear that because, like I shared, you all are the next wave of some bad dudes. I remember last season for you, so we're going to take it full circle, and we're going to we're going to end where we began today, right? And we began today with talking about the City League Championship and the fierce competition. And I remember maybe 2 or 3 events in last year.
Okay.
And as you all are in the tune, you're student athletes, you don't know what's all going on. But there's all these people over there working around, and everyone's talking about it, just to be honest with you, right? They're talking about you all as kids, and not in a bad way, but just, hey, did you see such and such, or did you see this? And I remember about a third of the way in, some people started saying, hey, Independence might win this today. and I didn't know about y'all. I'll be honest, I knew about AJ. It's 10,000 kids running around doing sports. And I had somebody come over and say, no, man, hey. And then I started watching. And I'm looking around, I'm going, these are some bad, right? And so I don't know how long it had been since you all maybe won a boys championship. Do you know when was the last one that the team won?
I do believe, and see, it's tough because Eastmore had been on that ranking.
No doubt, and, they had a good thing going for a long time.
Jason Lewis over there at Eastmore, they run a great program, and so it's always difficult to beat a great champion.
Certainly,
and I do believe back in maybe 2008, 2009, we were the ones. Now, the group that I mentioned with Dominic Ward and Vincent Rambo, we lost to Eastmore by 1.5 points. And
wow.
It was like 132 to 130.5.
Wow.
And so that was as close as anybody had come to dethroning Eastmore in the last 10, 12 years.
Okay.
And so going into last year, and we've been knocking on the door. We always say, keep knocking, it'll open eventually.
That's right. Okay.
So 2 years ago, we were second. 3 years ago, we were second. 2 years ago, we were third, and then last year we won it.
Certainly.
So, yeah.
Okay.
That's how that went.
So, and that's where we come full circle because everyone's watching you all as young people, and we're supporting and cheering for you. You have one of you have a great coach here. You have a league that is fiercely competitive. So you got guys out there that's also working. They hear this and they go, okay, yeah, right, we ready too. We over here working every day and training. Because in track you call it training, right? You don't call it practice, right? You training today, right?
Practice training, whatever you want to call.
So I want to get you all out of here on this as two young men. Anything that you want to share, any shout outs you want to give, who's a part of your support team, Anthony, that helps you accomplish all these things that you're doing as a young man?
One of my main two role models, I would say, will have to be Coach D, my coach, of course, because he pushes me every day.
Okay.
Just like, not even to act like a young man.
Certainly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And my second or my first, same type of category, my mother, of course, she pushes me every day too.
And everyone knows this about our show. Give mom's name, give her some love out there.
Sybil.
Yeah, okay. Sybil.
Yeah, no, I love her.
Oh, look at that. Hey, Anthony, that's tough. So now you got to give somebody some love. But come on, Antonio, tell me who's a part of your support team helping you accomplish all these wonderful things?
Coach D, of course, and then my mom as well.
Yeah.
Terry.
Who?
Terry.
Hey, so we got so Coach D, and I'm gonna give you the mic next, right? And then we get out of here. We have two young guys here. I wish you the best in track and field. You said you're a track guy. Find your lane. Do whatever it is. Stay connected to the school throughout, and lean on the adults and the people at the school to help you accomplish the things you want. That's what I want to share with young people and families. As you're going through this journey with your kid, lean on the people at school. That's what we're here for. We're here to help you. We got big shoulders. Coach D got big shoulders. He can carry a heavy load, right? Sure. And so sometimes when you're frustrated, you can walk into his classroom, walk into his office, vent. Sometimes you just need to do that. Sometimes you just gotta say all the stuff to get it off your head and then go on about your business, right? And I share that because obviously, man, I want to see you young people have a high level of success. It's others out there in this same track and field world, and be competitive. Have fun with it. You know what I mean? Congratulate those guys as much as they will congratulate you. Antonio, we want to thank you, right? I got to say this one, right? Thank you for bringing chess into our sports world, right? I mean, I don't know if we've had any chess at all show up and talk about it. So thank you for bringing chess. And then you gave the special on the back end, coloring inside the lines. I think there's a lot to be said about that, because what happens a lot of times is that we give young people some guidelines and some rules and the path to kind of follow. And every once in a while you veer outside the lines, right? And what's important is allow yourself to be coached and corrected to get back inside the lines. Sometimes that's difficult. I know when you're 14, 15 years old, 16, you feel like you know everything. But us old guys with gray in our hair know a little bit as well, right?
Absolutely.
And Coach, we'll let you get out of here with whatever you want to share, man.
Well, first of all, Dr. Clarence, I think I said it earlier, but I wanted to say it on air. Thank you for this platform that you've given us to recognize some of these great young people.
Certainly.
Because without that platform, I think sometimes the great things our kids are doing go unnoticed. So I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for that. So thank you. And then I guess I better start with Mrs. Coach D, because, Laura Douglas is kind of the key to everything in terms of allowing me to give back to the kids that I really appreciate and love. So thank you.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people don't know that there's someone behind all of us who is helping to make those sacrifices as well. So when we're out on the Fridays and the Thursdays and the Tuesdays and the Mondays and the Saturdays, there's somebody there helping holding things down in our own world as well. So when you say thank you to me, that thank you goes to the entire Columbus City Schools family. We have an amazing team here that helps put all this and make this magic happen. We're honored to have young people like you who are doing things that we can highlight and showcase, and obviously legendary coaches like yourself who come in here and share their story with us. Listeners, we've had a blast today. I want to thank you to our guests here. We got to get out of here, so I should have said this at the beginning. I'm saying it at the end again, but I'm going to ask you all to be advocates for us. We want everyone to follow us on Instagram at City League Sports 614. YouTube, make sure you follow us on IG. Gotcha. And then for all of you out there, catch future episodes for my radio listeners on WCBE 90.5 FM. For all you podcast folks, catch us on wherever your platform is that you follow a podcast, Apple, Spotify. Stay in tune with us here. This is all we have for today. This is City League Sports. I'm your host, Dr. Vince Clarno.